misty mountains cold.
Is this that Hobbit shit?
Hello, and welcome to That Hobbit Shit. I'm Corey.
And I'm Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Corey.
What chapter are we on today?
Well, if you'll wait a second, I'm just pouring my beer.
I think with each
Ooh.
subsequent episode, we've been doing the beer sooner and sooner and sooner.
Yeah. Oh, I want to taste it before we get to the green dragon. This one might have turned. We'll see. Corey. Corey, we're on chapter 5, titled "The Boys Are Back in Town."
Oh shit! Yeah.
It's insert sound clip.
Boys are back in town.
This chapter, Corey, we rejoin the three main characters as they wake up and try to puzzle out some puzzling Hobbit behavior. Aragorn found a Hobbit trail, some cut bonds, an old knife, and what was left of a quarter chicken dinner. Even a ranger couldn't figure out why a hobbit or hobbits would be eating a meal so close to a literal battlefield. Oh well. They follow a trail of old chicken bones into the Forbidden Forest. Aragorn is, again, puzzled. Gimli is scared shitless of the forest, and Legolas is elated to be inside.
Boys
Evidently,
are back in town. Sorry, just every once in a while.
running through your head. Evidently, the chicken was quite salty because the trail of chicken bones led straight to the stream, where Aragorn found some hobbity footprints around. And I have noted, the puzzle, Corey. They follow the stream up to a rough set of stairs leading to some sort of a lookout. The hobbit footprints ended there. The chicken bones had ended a while ago. But there were other stranger six-toed footprints around. As the game pondered this, Legolas saw something gray flittering from tree to tree with his elf eyes. Gimli, he brought it up. Sorry.
Well, wait. Can I solve this? I think I've got it all now. So it was Grishnak with the candlestick in the conservatory.
Yes.
Yes. Sorry.
Yes. You've one clue. Gimli slaps his head and remembers he saw Saruman the night before, watching everybody sleep.
Oh yeah.
Tom forgot. The bent gray old figure flittered closer and closer, and before everyone else could before everyone else could see him, they smelled him. There was a stink of dank brimstone and something wrong that they couldn't quite place. "It's Saruman," said Gimli, "and he's been sprayed by a skunk. Shoot him before he gets too close." But Legolas and Aragorn were too honorable to shoot a stinky old man without talking to him first. So they called up. He came scampering up the stairs to the lookout. He was hooded and draped in a large, dirty rag. From up close, the smell blurred their vision. It was almost visible. They could make out the man's face, but there was a haze about him.
This is great.
As they stared, the old man broke the silence with a greeting. He asked what a dwarf, a man, and an elf were doing in the forest together. What's a stinky old man doing out in the forest? They countered. They argued back and forth like this for a while, until the old man started laughing and asked, "Looking for some hobbits, are you? Let's sit and talk about it." "It is Saruman," cried Gimli, and they attacked the old man. The old man cast aside his gray rag and stood up, tall and white. It was Gandalf, Corey, and he had been fucking with them the whole time.
Wow, that's unusual for Gandalf, isn't it?
Yeah, out of character. "Gandalf," they cried, and with a wry look, Gandalf nodded. With his rag off, he seemed to come out of his stupor. "Why
The
are you
haze was
wearing..."
gone.
It's the haze. "Why are you wearing white?" Gimli asked. Gandalf patted Gimli on the head. "Because I'm white now," he answered, as if that made any sense. "I'm back and I've seen some shit. But enough about me. Where have you been?" "We've seen some shit too," answered Aragorn. "Any word from Frodo?" Sorry, this is a difficult chapter. "Yeah, I totally saved him from the Dark Lord with an invisible wizard battle," Gandalf answered, giving no more information.
I wanted to talk about that actually.
The other hobbits are fine as well. They're with Treebeard. What the fuck is a Treebeard? Gandalf told everybody about the Ents, about the trees, and pantomimed the shape of an Entwife, while Legolas asked a million questions.
I think I should mute myself.
What about you? Asked Aragorn. Gandalf told an exaggerated story about fighting a Balrog under the mountain, on top of the mountain, and inside the heart of the mountain. He totally killed him too. Nobody believed him. Then where did I get these? Gandalf said, holding up his gray rag. Corey, it wasn't a rag at all. It was a giant pair of underwear, scorched with brimstone and torn from the battle.
Oh my god. Oh my gosh.
Gandalf inhaled deeply and got that faraway look again.
Wait, I need to clap for a bit. That was so good. Okay, sorry, I'm back.
Everyone was suitably impressed.
Including me.
Legolas dragged the conversation back to the Ents. When can we see the Ents? He asked. Maybe later, said Gandalf. I don't know. We need to go see Theoden first. Who? Everybody asked. I'll explain on the way, Gandalf said. He draped himself in his gray rag and led the party out of the forest. Are we to walk the whole way? Asked Aragorn. Of course not. I'll summon the Lord of Horses. And with a whistle, he did. The end.
That was a banger of a summary, Mike.
Thank you.
Wow. I'm suitably speechless. Shall we go to the Green Dragon?
Off to the dragon, sure.
I wish I knew Epona's song off the top of my head, by the way, but I don't.
Does it go do do do?
Oh, yes, it does.
Is that what Gandalf plays on his flute?
I would assume so. If there's one thing I know, the only song that summons horses is
It is a horse summoning song. You're right.
Yes.
But the only food for the brave and true comes from the Green Dragon.
It's a business. Welcome to the Green Dragon, where we discuss the beers that we've carefully selected for this chapter. And Mike, you have carefully tasted your beer, I take it?
I've been tasting it the whole way. Corey, I picked this beer out quite a while ago.
Yes.
That's why I was afraid it had turned, but it didn't. It tastes delicious. It's
Oh.
called Wizard Mode, an
Oh, shit.
India Pale Ale from Boombox Brewing Company out of Vancouver, BC.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a thick IPA. Let me tell you, 7% alcohol.
Okay. Is it called Wizard Mode because like IPAs are the ones where they just like throw all the like spices and stuff in and they're just kind of like fuck it?
I don't know.
Actually,
I think it tastes like the Balrog's underwear smells. No IBU on this one.
oh,
I suspect it's a high IBU.
it's a stank IPA on that.
It's pretty thick. I'll tell you that much. It's 7%, so it's up there.
Okay.
A high percentage for 12 o'clock in the afternoon on a Sunday.
Oh yeah. Oh geez, yeah. It is pretty early.
That's okay. I'm going to Costco later, so
you need your senses suitably dulled for that.
yeah, dulled is right. That's the way to approach. It's tasty though. It's I don't know if you've noticed, IPAs have been getting a lot of shit lately, more than usual.
I feel like they've had a resurgence lately though.
I think they have, and that's why they've been getting a lot of shit.
Okay, yeah.
But man, it's a tasty one. Very very hop forward, if I can say so.
If I may.
If I may, yeah. Notes of brimstone.
So is that why you asked me the other day if the underwear joke should be retired?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I needed to know before I finalized my summary.
That was masterful.
He got the ultimate pair.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
there's one more pair.
Is it Sauron's ghost pair
I think it might be, yeah.
for his formless body?
That's why he was after the necromancer. Gandalf was after the necromancer between the Hobbit and Fellowship.
Some kind of twisted, gotta catch them all.
Yeah, he needs every pair.
Oh yeah, yeah. Clearly, there's a completist in all of us.
So what are you drinking, Corey? Oh,
Oh, whoa. Okay. Well, Mike, I'm very excited that you thoroughly enjoyed your beer because I have been so looking forward to how disgusting this beer will likely be. Um, whew, okay. I also selected this like a little while ago. It is from, oh, it is not at all the color I expected. Oh my God. Okay. Um, let me get my ducks in a row here. So it's from Cowbell Brewing. I've had Cowbell before. Actually, if you recall, Nicole through the Patreon got us a Cowbell beer a while back.
oh,
Absent Landlord.
oh, right.
Yeah, that might have been way back in the first season. Anyway, so okay, so Cowbell's good, but I chose this specifically for Gandalf. This is a white mocha coffee chocolate nitro white stout.
What?
I fucked if I know. It is 5% alcohol. It's clear. I don't know how chocolate and stout get in there. It's like a very yellow beer. I'm like terrified to try it.
You better try it.
It's gonna be gross, like. Okay. I'm not mad at that.
Can I ask why? Oh, white. That's why, right?
Yeah, for the White Rider.
Okay.
Yeah, white mocha for Gandalf.
Yeah.
I saw it. I think I had a better one selected. I was like, oh, this will be great. And then I saw this one and I put the other one back because I felt like I should have this one. I'm actually getting white chocolate. Yeah, there actually is like white chocolate and a bit of coffee, and it's not that bad. I'm kind of confused that it's not that bad. And it's not like really thick and really dark, which I sort of figured it would be. Not bad. Yeah, not bad actually.
I can't believe it.
Neither can I.
I've been having a tough time with stouts lately.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I found them so sweet.
Oh, Mike, you're my hero in the stout world. You're like
I
you're
know.
my
I think I delved too deep. I had like a Nanaimo bar stout, and it was just like liquid sugar kind of.
Yeah. Well, kind of like an animal bar. I guess that means it was authentic.
Yeah, true.
Is that a Canadian thing, Nanaimo bars?
Uh, Corey, they're named after a town on Vancouver Island.
Yeah.
Nanaimo.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah, I knew that, but yeah, I don't know. If you're not Canadian, would you have any idea what we're talking about?
I don't know. Yeah, they should look it up though.
Yeah, try it. Yeah. It's a staple around here. You can't have a buffet without an Nanaimo bar. Well, I think we're done here. We could move on to notes now.
Okay.
I'm not as shocked as I thought I would be.
By your beer?
Yes.
Okay, To the notes. Sorry.
Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Would you like me to start it off, Mike?
I'll start it off.
Okay.
I want to get right into this one. Corey, we got some insight into what the other members of the fellowship think of the hobbits and how weird they are.
Yes. Yeah, well, they were following the chicken bone trail.
Yeah, they couldn't believe that, like, they just didn't understand why they would sit there eating.
I liked how they couldn't believe it, but also when they thought about it, we're like, I guess that does sort of make sense for them, for these daft creatures.
Yeah.
Idiots. I love it too because that was a big point for us as well about how they just had a picnic next to a massacre.
Yeah, like just hearing screams and death and probably smelling like smoldering bodies and stuff.
All the while complaining that their biscuits were not fully intact.
Yeah, oh, these are crumbly.
I love the ridiculousness of hobbits. And yeah, it's great to see I guess all other races observe it.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess we get everyone else's opinion of them, except for orcs is
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. I wonder I wonder if that ever actually comes up.
I don't know. It might. Maybe when old Sambo gets, you know, his heroism going in the next book.
Yes, I know. Without spoilers, I know exactly what you're talking about. So speaking of people's opinions of other people in this chapter, Gandalf is a spectacular prick.
I I I have the, why is Gandalf such a prick in my notes?
He's constantly belittling Gimli in this chapter.
He's a prick to everyone except for Legolas is just kind of removed from the conversation.
Yeah, because he's thinking about Ents.
Yeah, and Gandalf won't tell him what happened, won't tell him where he is. Like he seems to know everything, but won't fill anybody in on anything.
Yeah, and at one point he says he'd rather talk to himself than any of the three of them because they're not smart enough. Legolas is also kind of a prick though. He calls Aragorn and Gimli children at some point.
He does call them children. You're right. That's a really pricky thing to say. Or to him, they are children, but you know, but doesn't Aragorn get all pissy and he's like, "I'm old." He's like 80.
Yeah, exactly. And he's seen a lot more than Legolas, who I would dare say is a fairly sheltered elf.
Yeah. And Gimli's like, I don't know, 200 or something.
Yeah, Gimli's even older and it's like probably even further abroad than like Legolas is. Like Gimli has seen some wild things for a dwarf. I don't think they come out very often.
Yeah, Legolas hasn't even seen an Ent, and like by any logic, he should have. He's a forest elf who's never been to the next forest over.
Yeah. Yeah, the original forest too. Like
Yeah.
Fangorn's like the good one.
like how old is he's got to be over 1,000, right?
I suppose we should probably know this, but yes.
He's 2,931 years old.
That means he was born like at the beginning of this age. Like, isn't it like 3019 or something like that?
I can't. I don't. Anywho,
Well, yeah, I think that means he is approximately the length of the third age at this point.
so it's just it defies logic that he wouldn't be like, oh, I'm gonna go check out Fanghorn.
Yeah. Oh well.
That's on him, man. That kind of took up a couple of my notes. 1 second here. Oh, it's cool when they enter the forest and Legolas can sense that something is going really wrong.
Yeah.
He senses the Entmoot marching of the Ents, but he doesn't know what the heck it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting, yeah. And true and like also like the evil in the forest being very far off, and Treebeard kind of alludes to that too. Like there are parts where like nobody can go, which I think is kind of neat.
Yeah, and we get a little taste of that later, don't we?
Uh
In a couple chapters when the forest goes somewhere.
Oh yeah. Oh right, of course. Like forests don't move.
Oh right, you're right.
Or I guess we learned that they do move in the last chapter. But anyway, I digress. So are you saying Legolas is a cool guy?
Yeah, the jury's out on him.
Oh, the jury's out. So the forest is a cool guy.
The forest is a cool guy. It struck me when they entered and Gimli was like, oh, I don't like this place. And Legolas was like, well, something's going on, but I don't think we have to be worried.
They're all talking riddles except for Gimli. Gimli is like the plainest of all of them.
Yeah, plain speak.
Which
Thanks,
is
Gimli.
which is a segue into my note, which is I love Gimli.
Yeah, he's pretty great. It's too bad he's just comic relief in the movies.
Yeah, I guess you can sort of see where it's coming from, kind of in this chapter, because I think this chapter is probably the most Gimli we've gotten so far. Like, I wouldn't call him comic relief in this chapter, but like he kind of won't shut up. He's got like a
He's-
sarcastic commentary running.
He's pretty upset. He's carrying an axe into like a dangerous forest. I can see why he's nervous.
Yeah, and they also ran for like 5 days, only to find that the people they were after were having a picnic.
Yeah, and he's like 3 feet shorter than everyone else.
So he may have run approximately twice the distance. Yeah.
While in full armor.
Yeah, that's another good point. Huh.
Like you got to think his axe is like 80 pounds in and of itself.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, I wonder if a full-grown man could bear dwarf gear.
No.
Yeah. No, yeah, probably not. Maybe only like someone as hefty as Boromir.
Yeah, a stout man. What was the word they used? The guy from Lake Town, they called him that a grim man.
Okay. This is totally off topic. Well, vaguely off topic. I have I think it's the John Howe illustrations on my copies of Fellowship Two Towers and The Return of the King, and I pulled out The Return of the King to look for my Matham in the what do you call it, the appendices.
Yeah.
And I was looking at the illustration on the cover. It's like a bunch of dudes at Minas Tirith. And I've never noticed this before, but they are so clearly grim men. Just the description really stood out to me. And I was like, oh yeah, shit, yeah. That's all. Sorry. I don't know if you have the same copies, if you know what I'm talking about.
I used to.
Oh, okay.
I no longer have it. I think when I moved to BC, I got rid of all my books, and that included that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it just wasn't worth shipping books.
Well, those are particularly hefty books, so I don't blame you.
Yeah, but man, Gimli, cool guy.
What's your next note, Mike?
What do I have left here? I surprisingly don't have much. Oh, this is a fun one. Boromir escaped in the end, Corey. Did you catch that?
I did catch that.
Gandalf knew he was struggling internally with some turmoil.
Yeah. Well, what do you think that means? Do you think that means like he escaped the evil of the ring?
I think so, because he defended the hobbits and he came to his senses before he died.
Right, before he died and like truly fell to evil, I guess, like permanently.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, maybe if he had been under the spell, if he had been under the spell of the ring, he would have been a wraith or something, you know? Not a ring wraith, but like maybe
But
he would have been stuck on Middle Earth.
Oh, interesting. Oh,
like
yeah,
a barrow weight or something.
Yeah. A formless servant of the Dark Tower.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an interesting expression. Or not expression, like interesting wording by Gandalf.
Yeah, and also Gandalf seems to allude to the fact that he maybe knew the whole time that Boromir was going to have a tough time.
Yeah. Which
is a real pricky thing to do.
Yeah, I was going to say it calls into question some of Gandalf's decisions, but it doesn't take much to do that.
No.
Well, okay. Speaking of little things in passing in this chapter, Mike, was it not the very mention of Sam Gamgee that brought a smile to Gandalf's face?
It was. It was. He knew everything would be okay when he found out Sam was with Frodo.
It warmed his heart. It might have been the first time he smiled since his resurrection.
It might be the first time he smiles at the thought of Sam too.
Yeah, that's true. So this version of Gandalf is mellower, I guess.
I think he's smarter.
Smarter.
He knows that Sam is the actual hero of the book.
He was given spoilers on the other side.
Yeah, maybe Gandalf spoke with Tolkien before he was sent back.
I mean, yeah, I suppose technically he saw the creator. Okay, no, we're getting into some Matham territory.
Are we ready for the next? Or do you have any notes left?
Very quickly, Aragorn attempted to good morning Gandalf, and I feel like from that point on, is when Gandalf really became less polite with them.
Do you think he was pricky because? Okay, I've got one more note, but do you think he was pricky because they thought he was Saruman, or like what was the deal there?
I think he's just a prick.
Did he not know? That's another one. Did he not know that he's Gandalf? Like that would always confused me. When he was sent back, did he come back incomplete? Is he in a daze this whole like 2 months?
Well, the interesting thing, I've thought about this because that's always sort of stuck with me too, because he's like surprised, like, oh yeah, right, that used to be my name, but he also says, I am Saruman, or
Because
Saruman as he should have been.
yeah,
So that makes me think that like I guess this will sort of vaguely come up in the Madam House. I guess there's only supposed to be one white wizard. Like these wizards are all only supposed to fulfill like particular roles.
right.
And so I guess he was sent back in the role that was supposed to be Saruman's, but Saruman fucked up.
I always read that as like he got upgraded when he left because Saruman has fallen.
Yeah, I guess upgraded, but in being upgraded, that makes him Saruman. I guess because Saruman was already like started at that I don't know tier. I don't know.
He
Yeah,
was
I don't know.
the top of the tower, Corey.
He was S tier, Mike.
Yeah, yeah, he was S tier and Gandalf was A tier.
Yeah.
Where does that put Radagast?
C.
C tier? And then the blue wizards are D, E.
I would probably think that they were higher than Radagast, but Radagast, as much as I love him, I don't think he's that powerful of a wizard.
He's pretty useless, which we'll get into that, I guess, in the Madam House, but what's the point of him? So Gandalf didn't know who he was, but even though he didn't know who he was, he spent, I don't know, upwards of a month drinking in Lothlorien.
Well, when you're partying with Galadriel, it doesn't matter who you are. It
Yeah.
only matters who she is, I guess. I don't know where I'm going with that.
That part was always a little confusing to me. Like he was there. They would they call him Mithrandir, right? That's their name for him.
Yes. Oh yeah, because that's what Legolas called him. Yeah, so that's the elf name for him. Yeah. I don't know. I think that's a very good question and one that is open to interpretation. Like, does he remember or does he not remember, or what is he
I think it's
now?
time for another letter to the Tolkien Society.
Dear fucks, we have discovered in the text.
That's not going to get a reply, but nothing has so far. So
I think there's always something to be said for honesty. Okay, this might be I don't want to drag out notes too far necessarily, but I guess we're having a good time here. There are two things that I would like to talk about, and they can be separate things if you'd like, Mike. One is the Balrog before he reignites.
yeah,
Instead of a thing of fire, he's a thing of slime.
yeah.
Thoughts on that? Feelings on that?
Ew.
Oh fuck! Glad I brought it up.
Um, I don't know. He was just wrestling with Gandalf in the mud, wasn't he?
The mud
All
that
slimy and stinky, and Gandalf's trying to get his underpants off.
Ew. Yeah, that conjures quite the image actually. I just think it's kind of neat, like just like how gross and like evil they are, and like without fire, they just like ooze slime or something. They're just like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I always thought it was kind of cool.
yeah. I guess that would be a good argument for the fact that they're not just smoke and fire. Like, you know how there's the interpretation from the text where like they don't actually have a form.
Oh yeah, yeah.
If they become slimy, then therefore they must have some sort of a form.
I suppose, or maybe their form is like not fixed. I guess if that makes sense. Like,
Right.
I like I don't mean to be funny with this, but like they both do and don't have wings kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like yeah, maybe neither. I don't know. It's yeah, it's just kind of fascinating. It's also interesting that like stepping outside again reignited him. So I
Yeah.
guess like maybe he was detached from some sort of power. I don't know.
He was quenched in the heart of the mountain. Next question.
Okay, yeah. So sorry, they were in tunnels dug by nameless horrors, Mike.
Yeah.
Thoughts on that?
Ooh, I think they come up at some point, don't they?
Oh, do they? Other than
The
this?
nameless tunneling horrors. I think they might.
Oh,
I can't
interesting.
remember. I can't remember if it's canon or what, but there's giant worms at one point.
Interesting that you should mention that because on tolkiengateway.net, which I like for looking up stuff, Nameless Things has its own like part, like it's like a wiki or whatever. It has its own segment, and it lists what it calls the worm in the Rings of Power as one of the nameless things.
A
Uh,
worm in the Rings of Power.
do you remember the sea monster when Galadriel is on like that raft with who
Right,
turns out to be
yeah.
Sauron? Yeah, they call that a worm, and it is one of the nameless things, according to this wiki. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but interesting. There is not a lot of information there.
Okay, do you know where they're called the wereworms? I'm embarrassed about where I picked this up. Do you remember the name wereworms? You might.
It sounds vaguely familiar.
They appeared in the Battle of Five Armies movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, weird. Oh, that's interesting. That's not even on the. Huh. Okay. Hang on. I'm gonna look this up real quick. I'm sorry. I apologize. Wereworms, The Hobbit. Oh my God.
Maybe they're not necessarily the nameless horror.
Uruk's facing a wereworm in the desolation of Mordor. That seems to be a video game. Wow, interesting. Huh. See, this is why I don't like Lord of the Rings fandom. This is why I like Tolkien Gateway, because there are so many ads on Lord of the Rings fandom. Wow, interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of cool that it just left open. Um,
Yes.
Another interpretation would be things like Ungoliant, the giant disgusting spider.
Oh. Yeah, that's a good point. What the hell is that?
I don't know.
It was a nameless thing that got a name and then
Yeah.
begat monsters for all of time.
Uh, or something like Tom Bombadil.
Hey, are you calling Tom Bombadil a nameless thing?
A nameless horror, yes.
Yeah, actually, joking aside, I think that's probably a pretty good categorization of like whatever the fuck he is. Sweet. Okay, cool, great.
He might actually be a nameless horror.
Just tunneling and singing weird songs about tunnels. Maybe that's why Gandalf didn't want to talk about it because he saw Bombadil like tunneling.
And he knew exactly what it was.
Bombadil just gave him a wink and skipped away. Oh,
Oh
cool.
boy.
I'm very satisfied with your response to that. Thank you, Mike.
Hey, you're welcome. Should we move on to the Matham House?
All right.
The Matham House, it was called.
The Matham House, it was called. This is where we discuss things that otherwise weren't worth discussing. Corey, what Matham were you burdened with?
Mike, you asked me to find out what the fuck is a wizard and or why won't he die, referring to Gandalf.
Is that a direct quote from me?
Yes.
Okay.
So where the heck to start, Mike? I dusted off my copy of the Silmarillion for this one. Because I looked in the appendices. I thought there was some sort of description of like what the wizards were, but it turns out it was in the Silmarillion, not in the appendices. So let's start at the beginning, shall we? With Iluvatar, the deity that created the world after the big song was sung.
Right.
And yeah, you're with me, right? And one god tier down, you have the Valar, And yet again, a god tier below that, you have the Maiar, and a wizard is a Maya, singular form of the Maiar.
Right.
So thank you for coming to the Madam House. Please save your ticket stub for 10% off your next entry.
A minor god would be the answer, right?
Essentially, yes.
Okay. What about an angel? Is he an angel?
Funny you should mention that because the like hierarchy of these spirits to me sounds like very, very close to like Judeo-Christian mythology. You know, you have God and then you have the angels and the choirs of angels, the archangels, and like all the angels below them. Because I guess like it was the two, you know, you had I think it's like Michael and Lucifer were the two highest angels, and then Lucifer rebelled and all of the angels below him became demons, etc., etc., etc. It's very much like that because Melkor is a Valar and he had all the Maya below him, and so he kind of is an angel. I have a longer explanation, which I can get into. I was just kind of joking with that quick one.
Tell me more.
Okay. So we have the Valar, also known as Ainur, who entered the world at the very beginning. And these Valar were Manwë and Varda, Ulmo, Aule and Yavanna, Arome and Vanna, Mandos and Vair, Nienna, Irmo and Este, Tulkas and Nessa, and of course, Evil's number one boy, Melkor. Melkor is a Valar. Yeah, don't forget.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so each of these Valar had attending Maiar. For example, Melkor had Sauron, if that makes sense. Follow me?
Yeah.
And there were a whole bunch of Maiar, like a ton of them, like the host of angels, Mike.
Right. Lobby boys.
Yeah. Can you hear my cat screaming in the background?
Yeah, what's going on?
He's like 2 rooms over and he's just losing his mind. I'm home alone, by the way.
Is he a Maiar? Are you getting too close to something uncomfortable for him?
He's a Maiar that was corrupted by Melkor. Anyhow, so among the Maiar, there was Kurumo, who served Aule, Iwendil, who served Yavanna, and Olorin, who served Manwë and Varda. And those were Mike, if you follow me. Kurumo was Saruman, Iwendil was Radagast, and Olorin was sneaky old Gandalf.
Oh.
And then brief side note, the blue wizards are a bit murky. And as we discussed before, Tolkien rewrote a lot of his Middle-earth history somewhat regularly. Originally, the two blue wizards were apparently called Alatar and Palando, and they were sent by the Valar Arome into the world. And they hung out with Saruman for a while, but all three of them went east, and the blue wizards never came back east. And it was presumed that they fell into evil. And interestingly, possibly started magic cults in the East.
I thought you were going to say Magic the Gathering.
So they invented a card game. Yeah, I mean, they might have. Yeah, I don't know. But then later on, Tolkien decided they didn't invent Magic the Gathering, and that the blue wizards came to Middle-earth during the Second Age when Glorfindel returned, and the three wizards arrived in the Third Age. But again, the blue wizards went out east and never returned, and supposedly they lessened the evil that was growing in the east in like the lands of Harad and etc.
Yeah.
Well, let me digress on the blue wizards for a moment. So the consensus is that the wizards appeared in Middle-earth around the year 1000 of the Third Age. And so the only one who actually witnessed their arrival was Círdan the Shipwright.
Oh, so they didn't come plummeting into the earth like the Rings of Power led us to believe?
Oh, I included that. No, Michael, they did not. They really, really specifically did not fall from the sky.
Oh.
They came by a boat.
A boat?
Yeah.
That's way different. They didn't arrive on a meteorite?
Naked and forgetful? No, they did not. They came on a boat and they arrived at the Grey Havens, and cool guy Círdan was there.
That must have been weird.
just hanging out one day and then this boat rolls up with something that's never existed before.
Yeah, what the fuck are these guys?
Yeah, it's a little strange. Yeah,
they're incredibly old.
They're already old and they just got here. So yeah, he and Círdan only ever told Elrond and Galadriel the truth about where the wizards came from.
Huh.
Yeah, but apparently in time, rumor spread among the elves that the Istari were sent to counter Sauron, which was right, whether coincidentally or not. But I don't know if one of the high up elves had loose lips on this one. Celeborn, Celeborn, excuse me.
Oh,
I imagine he can't keep any kind of secret whatsoever.
no, he sucks.
So yeah, it was men who gave them the name of wizards, and men originally thought that they were also men who were powerful because of long study. But after a few generations, they started to believe that the wizards were actually elves because they never actually aged.
But they're
Yeah.
somehow less and more pricky than elves.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Maybe it was from all their book learning. Yeah. But so yeah, their original function or mission or mandate or whatever you want to call it was for them to come to Middle Earth and combat the growing evils or corruptions of Sauron. And apparently certain restrictions were placed on these Istari, mostly that they would be bound to human form and have certain weaknesses that coincide with that form, like, hunger and stuff. Uh, but then
Do we ever see Gandalf eat in all of the movies?
I think he eats in Hobbiton. And I think he eats at Bjorn's, though I could be
Oh, right, he
wrong.
does. Oh, he does eat. Yeah,
Like Bilbo serves him tea and cake at some point.
he does. Yeah,
Yeah. I feel like I can picture him drinking beer, but maybe I made that up.
we might have put that on him.
Yeah, we just assume, yeah. But then to specifically answer the question of why won't Gandalf die, we come to he and the Balrog. And Balrogs, don't forget, dear listeners, are Maiar that have been corrupted by Melkor. Again, Sauron, more or less being one of them. And Gandalf, of course, died in battle with one of these Balrogs. But Mike, if you remember your Mathams, a precedent was set here by Glorfindel, badass elf lord from a house of princes who is resurrected by the gods after dying in single combat against a Balrog in the year 510 of the First Age.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. And this is pretty much exactly what happened to Gandalf. The god was the one who sent him back. Like, he died, and then Ilúvatar said, "No, you know what? You should go back."
You're not done.
Yeah. So yeah, and a lot of this, most of this information, I have to say, comes from Unfinished Tales by Christopher Tolkien, by the way. So we are like way outside of the bonds of Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, and even the Silmarillion.
Man, we never did raise enough to contact him.
Contact his spirit.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah, we'll save our pennies.
We might have enough on our Patreon now.
It's possible, yeah. We never did specifically look into how much a medium cost. We just assumed whatever we had would be what they cost. But yeah, maybe we could ask him. We could ask him to elaborate on maybe on the Blue Wizards. Maybe we should get some hard info.
Oh, yeah. Can you imagine how upset a psychic medium would be if we asked them about the Blue Wizards?
Imagine how upset the Tolkien Society would be if we came at them with new scholarship on the Blue Wizards. I think everyone would be upset.
Gleamed from communication with the dead.
Unprecedented Tolkien scholarship. So when Gandalf returned, some of the restrictions placed on his power were evidently lifted or loosened, perhaps, because he leveled up wildly. And as we see, Mike, his power is palpable now, even under those dirty gray rags. Any questions?
My only question, I'm worried about asking this one.
Okay.
Is there a hierarchy to the Maiar? Like some seem to be more powerful than others. What's up with that, Corey? How come Sauron is so much more powerful than Gandalf?
That's an interesting question.
There must be, right? There must be, because how come the Balrogs are not are lesser beings?
I'm assuming I'm making an assumption here. This didn't specifically come up, but this is something that I've kind of wondered about when I first found out that Balrogs and wizards were the same thing. I wonder if it's based on the Valar were like said to the Maiar, like, you guys go and be wizards and aid the people of Middle Earth. Whereas I don't think any sort of restriction was placed on the Balrogs. I'm assuming they're sort of like in
Oh,
their full power in the world.
right.
And then Sauron specifically, I am assuming it's related to like the ring, but also, sorry,
maybe the ring and then knowledge, maybe.
yeah, because Saruman was supposed to be more knowledgeable than Gandalf. Like he is supposed to be the most knowledgeable of the Astari through like learning and lore. And I also wonder if maybe it has to do with what Valar they were related to. I
Oh,
don't know.
yeah, like when you go to Viridian City, all of the people in the gym are a certain type, right? They all use, is it water Pokemon in Viridian City?
I think that's Cerulean City, but
Oh,
I
right.
I see exactly the point that you're making. uh, I think that is essentially the case.
All right, let's call it here.
I had two side notes. One we already touched on is that the Rings of Puer was wrong, and two, that I'm not going to go into this. However, Luthien's mother was a Maiar, by the way. So her descendants had god blood.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait.
Uh,
Tolkien's wife?
uh, Tolkien's mother-in-law, I think, because wasn't
Wow, wow,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, at some point in the history of the world, a Maya married an elf.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Just FYI.
Not the weirdest thing to ever happen.
Really, no, it's not. I mean, Bombadil married a river, so
He did, and he
uh,
wades in it daily. Let's move on.
good night, everybody. Yeah, okay, cool. That was the Madam House. Thanks for coming.
Good Madam. That was a big one.
It was pretty meaty, yeah.
There's going to be a whole wing dedicated to wizards.
Do you want to cook with Sam, Mike?
Yeah, cook in with Sam. It's cook in, right? I always call it cook in with Sam.
You know what? I'm gonna erase the G in my notes. Right now, I'm putting
Okay.
an apostrophe there.
Okay.
Excellent. Save.
Oh yeah, I
Update.
got to pull up my notes here.
What's in this? Nothing. Just a bit of seasoning. I thought maybe if we was having a roast chicken one night or something.
Cooking with Sam, the segment where we discuss the recipe that we selected from Recipes from the World of Tolkien by Robert Tousley Anderson, and we cook it in honor of Sam not being in this chapter.
Yeah.
As I recall, Mike, this is the final chance for this book.
Yeah. It is the final chance for this book.
And we selected, or I guess I selected the Crick Hollow apple loaf.
Yep.
Do you got any thoughts?
My first note is highly dubious recipe.
I agree with you. I don't disagree. However, looking through it, I swear to you, this was like the most logical recipe that I came across.
I believe you. This is the only one I didn't finish.
Oh yeah.
I just threw out half of the loaf yesterday.
Oh man, that's exactly what I did last time.
It turned.
Did you follow it exactly?
No, I didn't. I omitted the dried fruit because I hate it. And when I was boiling my apples in apple cider, I added a tablespoon of cinnamon and a teaspoon of nutmeg
Oh,
and a bit of ginger.
excellent choices.
I wish I wish I had added more. I think that would have helped.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I guess my note there was that I think what's his name? Robert Tousley
Anderson.
Anderson. I think that he had meant for this to be like a mulled apple cider or a spiced apple cider that's used, and that would be your flavor base. But because I just used a can of alcoholic cider, it didn't really have any strong flavor. And I think that's where things went sideways for me.
Oh, interesting. Well, I did the same thing, and I was looking later after we were talking about this. I looked a little bit deeper at the recipe, and it does say, like, I'm pretty sure he doesn't explicitly use the word alcoholic, but he really heavily implies it because he said if there are kids, you can use apple juice.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and well, like, and one thing that you mentioned, the lack of seasoning in this recipe is fucked.
It's fucking weird, right? Like,
Yep.
if I didn't add that little bit, it would taste like nothing.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, it would actually taste like nothing. I wanted so hard to follow this one to a T. I wanted to follow it to the letter and then talk about how awful it was. But when I was making it, I was like, I have to make some changes here so that I enjoy this loaf. One of them was adding cinnamon, and then I put some vanilla in, and then I didn't even realize until I was making it that the seeds he told you to get, he just wanted to spread on top, and that makes me so mad. So I put more seeds in the loaf.
Oh, yeah, that would have really helped. Did you use salted seeds or unsalted?
Unsalted, but I also added salt and baking powder because I refused to use this weird self-rising flour thing.
There was no salt in this recipe, and I realized that after I baked it. There was also no butter.
Yeah, I thought about that too. I was like, there's no fat in this at all. Which is again a strange choice for a baked good.
Yeah. I feel like it could have been good. It just needed more seasoning.
I enjoyed the loaf that I came out with. Tiffany was asking me if I would make it again, and I kind of chuckled and I said I would make an apple loaf again, but I wouldn't follow this recipe.
Yeah. So I think my takeaway was either if I added the seeds to the loaf itself and if they were salted, that might have made it better.
Right.
If I didn't add seeds at all and then had like a cinnamon glaze, that might have made it good.
Ooh, yeah, that would be nice.
But as it is, it was terrible.
With my adjustments, I feel like what I came out with is what I would have expected from the last recipe. Like to me, what I ended up with was a seed cake.
Yeah.
And I'm still kind of mad about the seed cake from the last time.
Mine was a bland loaf of bread that got slapped by an apple on the way out.
Yeah. My last one was like a flat loaf of bread that got slapped by a caraway seed that I threw out.
Yeah.
So
what do we do, Corey? Do we keep on going with this fucking fool, or do
I think we have to get another Tolkien themed cookbook, Mike. I think we got to call it.
these? It's been really funny making these, especially once we realized like I almost left an Amazon review for this book after I made this apple loaf. I was so mad.
Well, Mike, I thought of a good alternate title for this book would be recipes from the world of Tolkien for people that have never cooked before.
There's a joke there about like it being stereotypically British food.
Oh, interesting.
Everything is just so underseasoned and bland.
Well, it's like
what you think British cooking is, or something like that.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I'm also a little confused that like can I suppose they can. The answer is yes, but like, can anyone just publish a cookbook? Like why wasn't there anyone testing these recipes?
That was what my deleted Amazon review would have been like. This sorely needed somebody to edit.
Yeah, it really, like, a baker, an actual baker to edit it.
Yeah, someone like, I could see how you would get to this point if you're not anybody really who wrote it. You get so close to your own recipe that they're like, yeah, of course you don't overmix the flour, or like
Oh
it's
yeah.
not like, well, of course you add extra seasoning when you're cooking. Like that's an obvious thing. Um, it's not written for someone who's following a recipe. It's written for someone who's familiar with the recipes.
Oh, I see.
That
Yeah, I
makes
see what you're
sense.
saying. Yeah. Well, and yeah, and I guess the times that we both deviated from the recipe is when we came up with something that we actually enjoyed.
Yeah, one that comes to mind was the mushroom pie, that it didn't say you need a bottom of the pie crust, and like he probably thought it was implied that like of course there's a bottom of the pie crust, but there's no editor to say like, well, you probably should tell people that.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Like yeah, having people test the recipes.
So yeah, that book's going to I'll keep the book, I suppose.
Yeah,
I'd
I
just say
wouldn't
like,
recommend it though, honestly.
no,
Like if
no,
someone's thinking about getting it, I'd say no.
it's awful, truly
Yeah.
awful.
And I kept thinking about when I was looking for this recipe, I kept thinking about what you said about like buying like a cut of meat, but then potentially ruining it by following one of his recipes, which sort of made me laugh.
Yeah, imagine how like we made some pretty like thrifty recipes. I'd say the most I spent was like maybe $10 on like seeds and nuts and stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe a can of cider.
yeah.
It's not like I spent $40 on some organic grass-fed beef.
Yeah, yeah, or like a wild caught salmon or something. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and just to have this asshole throw a bunch of random shit on it and bake it for half the time it needs.
Riders of Rohan! What news from the mark?
Hobbit news, where where we discuss news. Corey, what word from the mark?
Mike, I have one that I feel like we would be remiss in not mentioning, and I'm curious if you've heard of this one or not. It happened here in Toronto, right here in sunny old Toronto. Did you hear about the One Ring card and Post Malone?
Oh, I might have briefly. Yeah, tell me more.
Yeah, so there was so Magic the Gathering, which coincidentally came up in this episode, released a single card. Like they only ever printed one card, and it was the One Ring from Lord of the Rings. And some guy in Toronto found it. I think it's some box set. And then when the story first broke, his name wasn't released because he found some kind of like third party that was like authenticating it, and like people were flying back and forth with this card to like LA or something. And it was like what do you call it, like a broker kind of dealing with it, and they figured out it was the real One Ring card, et cetera, et cetera. Eventually Post Malone decided he wanted to buy it.
Awesome.
Yeah, and he did. The purchase was made here in Toronto, and this guy got like millions of dollars for it. That's all.
Good for him. Post Malone, don't like his music, but he seems like a great guy.
Yeah, and he's a Lord of the Rings fan, it turns out.
Lord of the Rings fan. Have you ever heard an interview with him?
No, actually.
You would be shocked at how like polite and gracious he is.
Oh, okay.
It's bizarre. Like just seeing the guy, you'd be like, yeah, he just looks like a smelly guy. It's all like, thank you, sir, and no, sir. Oh, very, very glad to hear that, sir. Like that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That warms my heart.
Yeah, it's heartwarming. That's right.
Well, and he was willing to give some dude millions of dollars for a piece of cardboard. That's very nice of him.
I wonder how that plays into the game.
Yeah, I kind of wondered that too. I was yeah. I also wonder how
Have you ever played Magic the Gathering?
I have not. Have you?
A little bit, yeah. Not a ton, but a little bit. It's
played...
fun. I understand why people get into it.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I played the Pokemon card game, which I think is heavily based on it.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, yeah. It's just something I've never really gotten into.
Yeah, same. It's a lot to keep up with, but they're really cool, and the art's cool, and
yeah,
good for them. That's my thought.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting little piece of news. Yeah, and just I felt like we had to mention it.
Like how that guy got really dressed up to sell the card to Post Malone.
It's a pretty big deal.
Did you see what he wore? Did you see the picture?
No, actually.
Oh, he's just in a white undershirt.
Oh, oh, you're being sarcastic.
Yeah.
I gotcha. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Didn't they sell? I think the sale happened like near like the Budweiser stage. I think, if I
Oh, that's really
recall
cool.
correctly. Yeah,
Did he invite him to his concert? That'd be fun.
it'd be funny if he just like paused the concert and like stepped outside, like, oh, sorry, one sec, I gotta
Yeah.
make a purchase.
I think I saw a picture of Post Malone wearing that. I could be mistaking this with something else, but I think I saw a picture of him wearing it around his neck.
The card?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's really funny. I mean, fuck yeah, if you're gonna buy it, you should enjoy it.
Yeah. I might be mistaking this with seeing someone wear a Pokemon card around their neck or something like that.
Okay, okay.
Like a hologram Charizard or something.
Let's just hope that it was Post Malone with the One Ring.
Just like Sam would wear it.
So yeah, that's Hobbit news. That's all I got for you.
Cool.
Shall I draw you, Saruman?
Yeah, let's do the Saruman.
I will draw you, Saruman, as poison is drawn from a wound.
You send me?
Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, I'll send it to you. I just sent it to you, Mike. We came dangerously close this week to drawing Saruman, but we're not there yet.
Yeah, at some point we're going to, right? Right?
Yeah, we're gonna have to. It must.
Oh, here it comes. It's coming. Oh, awesome. I got it.
Oh, good. Excellent.
All right, so tell me about this, Corey.
Well, for a while I was thinking about can you picture the scene where like Gandalf and Aragorn are like standing next to each other and it says like they both look like, I don't know, like statues, like they just stepped out of some crazy legend or whatever.
Yeah.
I was so close to like making that the illustration, but it kept reminding me of a meme, and then I tried to find it and I couldn't find the meme. But anyway, the other cool part I think is when Gandalf jumps up on the rock and like reveals himself, and like fucks their brains up. So what is that?
Yeah, all of his glory, and here he is.
Yeah, I kind of based it a little bit on an NC Wyeth illustration, because I think NC Wyeth is God's gift to illustration. And then I also used a photo. I was kind of messing around in Photoshop a little bit. I thought I would use a real picture of a forest.
Oh, that's a real picture of a forest?
Yeah.
Is that a forest picture you took?
It is a forest picture that I took.
Oh, awesome.
It's up in Gray County, if that means
anything. Did you see Gandalf there?
Oh yeah. Oh shit, Gray County. I didn't even make that connection. Wow, I'm better than I realized.
It all comes together.
Yeah. Yeah, I just thought that was a cool part of the chapter, and that was what I wanted to illustrate. I suppose one could have illustrated any point of the battle with the Balrog, but
that's not fun. That's just like expected, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's been done.
Oh, this really reminds me, Corey, of a thought I had for a chapter cover.
Yes.
The style you've painted Gandalf.
Yeah.
Really reminds me of the Stand. Do you know the book The Stand by Stephen King?
Yeah, I'm aware of it. I've never read it.
It's a really good book, in my opinion. The book cover is very similar to this, but like different, obviously.
The Stand, eh?
Yeah, it's there's like a Gandalf type fighting a demon.
Oh, sweet. Cover. Really?
Yeah.
Man, Stephen King really has a. Oh, I see. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's sick.
You were getting cool cover, like unexpectedly cool cover for a Stephen King book.
Yeah, totally. Oh, that's rad. What chapter are you going to use that for, Mike?
I just was looking at it and thinking like I didn't have an idea. I just wanted to fit it into a chapter.
Oh, okay, sweet.
Him fighting the Balrog like that would have been so funny.
Yeah, that would be cool actually.
Especially if you made them kind of cheesy like that.
Yeah.
Or if I had. But cool cover. You really nailed like the gleam from him. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, thank you. Yeah. His radiance or countenance or
his radiance. That's what we should refer to him as.
His radiance ship.
I'd really love to put all these together into a booklet or something. We totally should.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, a single booklet, 3 booklets even. I don't know. Either way. Yeah, I'm actually very excited. I have had an idea for the longest time for the chapter Flotsam and Jetsam, and I am getting steadily more excited for doing that illustration.
Oh, awesome.
It's like 5 or 6 chapters away, but
I finally got an idea for my next chapter, The King of the Golden Hall.
yeah.
I was thinking too much about the throne and the king, and I need to get away from that thought.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I'll tell you because I'm not doing it, but like, like the picture of Thanos on the throne kind of deal, or like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I think it just gets too, I don't know, it gets too tough with him being this old man.
Yeah. Sort of decrepit cobweb of a being on a
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's not as fun or like imposing. It's not the right pose for that. Anyway, yeah, you'll see. I got an idea.
Okay, sweet. That's kind of the fun part. Is like, yeah, there's so many with each chapter. There, like, there's any amount of things that you could make an illustration for. It's so yeah.
Yeah. You've inspired me to like move outside my comfort zone a little bit on the next one.
Oh,
So there
sweet,
we
good.
go. Yeah.
Yeah, I was a little outside of mine on this one, especially using a photo in any way. I was like, oh, that'll work. And I think it went okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun to
It's
try.
it did work.
Thanks.
And that's the whole point of this, like, push yourself.
Yeah. All right.
Well, are we wrapping up?
Yeah, I think we did. I think we got another episode of the back. We little pat on the back for us, Mike, because I think this is the quickest we've done 2 chapters since we've moved on to the 2 towers.
I think you're right. It's been a bit of a hairy last 6 months. So good for us.
Yeah. Way to go, Corey and Mike.
Yeah.
Okay.
I find the summary harder than the illustration in some ways.
Sometimes, yeah. But I do really like how we were doing it this time.
Yeah, it's a lot less work, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. The Mathem's kind of funny, whereas the summary is like, oh my gosh.
Oh, especially this one. Like, I was summarizing Gandalf summarizing something with and like not summarizing it.
Yeah. But say again, I think you did a fantastic job of this summary.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening. This was chapter 5 of The Two Towers. You can find Mike and I on Instagram at that Hobbit shit. Find us on Twitter at Hobbit shit. Email us thathobbitshit@gmail.com. If you know what an Nanaimo bar is, send us an email. And you can also find us on Patreon, patreon.com/thathobbitshit. Also check out our link tree if you want to find some Hobbit shit merch, which you can also get your hands on through the Patreon. Yeah, and thanks a lot. Thanks again to all our supporters, and thanks for listening. I'm Corey.
And I'm Mike.
And may the hair
on
your
your
toes
never fall out.